Everybody liked my brother. Like, I didn't know anybody that didn't like George.
He loved people, he loved to talk to them, he always sought people out.
He was like a big teddy bear. He was this huge, hulk of a man, 6'3", really muscular, absolutely beautiful. I mean, he literally looked like a Greek god. And he was super affectionate. He's always grabbing you and hugging you and kissing his kids and kissing his family. And he was just that kind of person, very affectionate.
Probably one of the most caring people I've ever met in my life. Always has a smile on his face.
At first, because his symptoms were sensory, the consensus was that this was going to be a quote-unquote benign case of MS. But they said his prognosis was pretty good.
But it started to get worse and worse, and that's when I think he got more and more scared about what it was.
I can't tell you the things that he tried to do to stop the progression of this disease, but it started to accelerate. One day he walked to the mailbox with his dog, and on the way back he could no longer walk. His wife had to come out and drag him practically into the house, and then that was it. He was in a scooter. It went that fast.
I remember he'd play catch with me out in the back. Me and my cousin would go out there and play catch with him. He'd play basketball with me. And then after a couple years of MS, he couldn't walk anymore, really.
I think just slowly every single day we watched it brutalize him more and more and more.
George hated everything about MS, but the primary thing was that it eventually took away his entire life. It tore the fabric of his life apart.
Slowly but surely, a lot of the people in his life abandoned him. And, that was part of what broke his heart. I think that it was one of the things that actually ended up killing my brother is the only people he really had left. It was his immediate family. Everybody just scattered.
He lost hope that MS would be cured any time within his lifetime.
In MS, it's the myelin that's damaged, which causes debilitating symptoms, and yet there had been no focus on thinking about repairing myelin.
What we liked about Myelin Repair Foundation was that they weren't playing games with having to try funding. They wanted to repair. They said, look, we can't wait. And so they were on a fast track.
When he talked to people at the foundation, he felt a little bit of hope. He felt like somebody was actually paying attention.
I was diagnosed with MS when I was 20, and there were no treatments whatsoever at the time, so I just pursued my career. In 2001, after I'd had MS for 25 years at that point, and really there hadn't been significant progress, I began to kind of look at what the landscape of medical research looked like. And it just struck me that the process or the ecosystem of medical research is really a broken system.
It's harder to study the brain. It's locked up behind this bony case, and I can't sample a live person's brain. I can't do that. The tools for imaging are limited. It's a really difficult problem, and it takes a long time to sort it out. And that's one of the luxuries that I have here at the Myelin Repair Foundation.
The efficacy of the current drugs is not nearly where people would really want. I mean, there are people who none of the current drugs seem to work at all for. They just slow the disease. I mean, so to me, that's not an acceptable answer.
Overall, the goal is to come up with different ways of attacking this problem that are focused on getting the axons and the myelin healthy and maintained in patients.
So what we do is we think strategically about the entire continuum, from all the way from basic science through approval. We manage and cause collaboration among all the appropriate and necessary parties to be able to actually move that process much faster. The current process takes 30 to 50 years, and our goal is to do that in 15 years. So we're not talking about just tweaking it or taking a small percentage off. We're talking about taking 50 to 75% of the time out of that process so that we can get really effective new therapeutics to patients much faster.
We just have a lot of energy and excitement and drive and a lot of focus, and yet we're putting drugs into the clinic. And it's just so rewarding, it's so exciting, it's so nerve-wracking and breathtaking.
Everyone here is very passionate about what we're doing, very committed, and we call it drinking the Kool-Aid. I mean, there's no question. We all believe that we're going to change all medical research.
My hope for the future is that scientists and doctors will think out of the box.
Make it personal, make it a mission. There's millions of people like us, unfortunately. And, just battle it every single day.
I've never felt it so strongly that I can't work fast enough. I cannot work fast enough. I cannot work harder.
It is extremely fulfilling to be working towards a goal that you're going to be working towards an unmet medical need. And as long as we are able to receive enough donations to support the research is going to stay focused on that goal. So we know our main objective is just reaching that endpoint to help patients.
I hope that in 2019, we will have a therapeutic available that will repair myelin. I mean, that is our absolute goal. Everyone here is focused on that. The entire team is working towards that goal, and we believe we can do that.